If you're addicted right now, and you keep telling yourself this is the last time, but it never is, I need to tell you something uncomfortable. You don't actually want the addiction. You want what it gives you. And until you understand that difference, you will stay trapped. Carl Jung said something 100 years ago that completely changed how I see addiction. It's not about discipline. It's not about trying harder. It's not even mainly about chemistry. It's about a hunger you've been ignoring for years. Stay with me, because if you really understand this, the loop starts to weaken. Addiction feels like the enemy. It feels like the thing ruining your life. The drinking, the porn, the scrolling, the gambling, the overeating, the endless need for validation. You think, if I could just remove this one behavior, I'd be fine. But here's the part nobody tells you. The behavior is not the root, it's the relief. Think about the moment right before you give in. You're not excited, you're uncomfortable, restless, anxious, lonely, overwhelmed, empty. The craving doesn't appear when you feel fulfilled, it appears when something inside you feels missing. That's not weakness, that's information. Carl Jung described addiction as a distorted form of spiritual thirst. Not religious necessarily. Spiritual as in the need to feel whole, connected, alive, significant, at peace inside your own skin. When that deeper need goes unfed for years, the psyche looks for substitutes, and substitutes are everywhere. Modern life gives you instant relief on demand. You don't have to sit with emptiness. You don't have to face loneliness. You don't have to process grief. You can numb it in seconds, but here's the trap. Relief is not the same as nourishment. Relief reduces pain. Nourishment builds strength. Addiction gives relief. Your soul wants nourishment. Jung once wrote to Bill Wilson, the co-founder of Alcoholics Anonymous, that addiction is the spiritual thirst for wholeness expressed at a low level. That line changes everything. You are not addicted because you are broken. You are addicted because you are starving. And when you're starving, you don't care what you eat. You grab whatever is closest. Here's the painful irony. The more you rely on the substitute, the more your real hunger grows. Why? Because the real need is never met. Let's break the cycle down. Craving appears. You indulge. You feel relief. Then shame hits. Then emptiness deepens. Then craving returns stronger. It's not random. It's a loop built on avoidance. Now here's the uncomfortable part. What are you avoiding? What happens if you remove the addiction tonight? What would you have to feel instead? Silence, fear, old grief, a sense that your life lacks meaning. Unresolved anger? Addiction often protects you from emotions your nervous system doesn't feel safe holding. That's why willpower alone fails. Because willpower fights the behavior, but ignores the pain underneath. And pain that isn't heard becomes louder. Jung believed symptoms appear when something unconscious demands attention. Addiction is not a moral failure. It's a message. The question is, are you willing to read it? Because if you only try to crush the behavior, you'll likely replace it with another one. Different object, same hunger. And this is where most people stay stuck. They think the solution is control. But the real solution begins with understanding. In the next part, we're going to talk about the hidden force that gives addiction so much power. It's not chemistry, it's not discipline, it's something inside you that you've been pushing into the dark for years. And until you face it, the loop will always feel stronger than you. Now let's go deeper. Because addiction doesn't just come from hunger. It feeds on something inside you that you've been avoiding for years. Jung called it the shadow. And no, it's not some dark, evil monster. It's simply the parts of you that you learned were not acceptable. The anger you were told to suppress. The sadness you were told to get over. The fear you were told was weakness. The need for love you were told was too much. Every time you hide a part of yourself, it doesn't disappear, it goes underground. And underground things grow stronger. Here's what most people don't realize. Addiction is often the shadow's voice. Let me explain. When you drink, maybe it's not about alcohol, maybe it's the only time your buried anger can come out. When you watch porn, maybe it's not about lust. Maybe it's the only place you feel wanted without risking rejection. When you scroll endlessly, maybe it's not boredom. Maybe it's the fear of being alone with your own thoughts. For a few minutes, the shadow feels heard, but because you never face it directly, it keeps demanding more. That's why the dose increases. That's why just once becomes 10 times. That's why shame grows. You're not just fighting a habit. You're fighting a hidden part of yourself that wants to be seen. And this is where it gets uncomfortable. What if the addiction isn't your enemy, but your shadow's survival strategy? What if it's trying, in a distorted way, to protect you? Protect you from feeling unworthy, feeling abandoned, feeling insignificant, feeling the grief you never processed, feeling the rage you never expressed. Most people try to kill the shadow, but Jung believed something radical. You don't eliminate the shadow, you integrate it. That means you turn toward it. You ask, what are you protecting me from? What do you actually need? What happened that made you this desperate? This is where real transformation begins, not when you say, I will quit forever, but when you say, I'm ready to understand. And here's something important. This process is not dramatic. It's quiet. It's you sitting alone asking hard questions. It's you noticing what emotion shows up right before the craving. It's you admitting, I don't actually feel okay right now. Most people only reach this point after rock bottom, when the addiction hurts more than it soothes, when the illusion collapses. And strangely, rock bottom can be a gift, because it shatters the ego's fantasy of control. You stop pretending you're fine. You stop pretending you can manage it. You surrender. And surrender is not weakness. It's the first crack where light gets in. In AA, this is step 1. Admit you are powerless. Jung understood this deeply. The ego cannot defeat addiction alone, because the ego is often the one running from the shadow. But when you stop fighting yourself, something shifts. The addiction starts to lose its mystical power. It stops feeling sacred. It stops feeling inevitable. It stops feeling like your only escape. Cravings still come, but they start to feel like echoes. Old patterns, not commands. And here's the key insight. The more you integrate your shadow, the less fuel the addiction has, because much of its intensity came from repressed energy. When that energy becomes conscious, it no longer needs to explode through compulsion. You begin making choices from awareness, not desperation, and that changes everything. In the next part, I'm going to give you practical steps, not generic advice, but specific ways to start facing the shadow today. Because understanding is powerful, but action makes it real. Now let's make this real. Understanding your shadow is powerful, but insight without action changes nothing. So here's where you start. Not next month, not when you feel stronger. Today. Step 1 is radical honesty. Not shame, not self-hatred. Honesty. Say it clearly. This behavior is running my life. Not dramatically, not emotionally, just factually. Because denial keeps the loop alive. Awareness weakens it. Now here's the part that changes everything. Every time a craving appears, don't fight it immediately. Pause, just 60 seconds, and ask 3 questions. First, what am I actually feeling right now? Not what you think you should feel. What's really there? Anxiety, loneliness, boredom, rejection, stress, emptiness, name it. Because unnamed emotions control you. Named emotions soften. Second question, what am I trying to avoid? If I don't act on this craving, what feeling will I have to face instead? Be brutally honest. Most addictions are avoidance strategies. Third question, what does this part of me actually need? Not the addiction, the part underneath. Maybe it needs rest. Maybe it needs comfort. Maybe it needs validation. Maybe it needs expression. This is shadow work in real time. Simple, but powerful. Now here's something important. At first, this will feel uncomfortable because you're removing the anesthesia. But discomfort is not danger. It's growth. Jung also used a technique called active imagination. Here's a simplified version you can try. Close your eyes. Imagine the craving as a character. Give it a shape, a voice, a presence. Then ask it, what are you protecting me from? Wait, listen, don't argue, just observe what comes up. You might be surprised. Many people discover that the craving feels like a scared child, or an exhausted part, or an angry voice that was silenced years ago. When you listen instead of suppressing, something shifts. Now let's talk about replacement. not replacing addiction with another addiction, replacing numbness with nourishment. Remember what we said earlier. Relief is not nourishment, so you need to feed your system differently. Here are small but powerful practices. Spend time in nature without stimulation. No phone, no music, just you walking. Your nervous system recalibrates in silence. Create something. It doesn't have to be good. Write, draw, play music, build something. Creation integrates shadow energy. Have one honest conversation per week. Not surface-level talk. Real talk. Say something vulnerable. Connection dissolves shame. Practice sitting with discomfort for 5 minutes a day. No distraction. Just breathe and observe. You are training your nervous system to tolerate emotion without escape. And here's the key. Progress will not be linear. You will slip. You will have hard days. But the difference is this. Each time you face the craving consciously, you weaken the unconscious loop. Each time you sit with emotion instead of fleeing, you grow stronger. Not dramatically, quietly. And quiet growth is sustainable growth. Remember this, you are not trying to kill a part of yourself, you are trying to understand it. When the shadow feels seen, it stops screaming. In the final part, I want to talk about hope. Not fake motivation, real hope. Because if you're still here, you're not as trapped as you think. If you're still here, that already tells me something. Part of you wants change, not just surface change. Real change. And I need you to hear this clearly. You are not defective. You are not weak. You are not beyond repair. You are searching. Maybe blindly, maybe desperately. But you are searching for wholeness. For years, I was trapped in my own loop. Sunday night promises, Monday determination, Tuesday collapse, Wednesday shame. Over and over, I tried brute force. I tried discipline, apps, cold turkey, self-hatred. Nothing lasted because I was fighting the symptom, not the wound. The shift didn't happen when I tried harder. It happened when I stopped asking, how do I quit? And started asking, what am I really starving for? That question changed everything. Not overnight, not dramatically, slowly, painfully, but steadily. I began listening instead of attacking myself. I sat with discomfort for minutes instead of escaping in seconds. I admitted I felt lonely. I admitted I felt unworthy. I admitted I was afraid of being insignificant. And strangely, the moment I stopped seeing myself as broken, the addiction lost some of its power. It didn't disappear instantly, but it stopped feeling like destiny. It started feeling like a pattern, and patterns can be changed. Here's what nobody tells you. Freedom from addiction is not just removing a behavior, it's building a self that no longer needs it. That's deeper, that's slower, but that's real. Jung believed the goal of life wasn't perfection, it was individuation, becoming whole. That includes your shadow, your fear, your anger, your wounds, your hunger. When you integrate those parts, you don't need the substitute as much because the real need is being met. You begin to experience moments that feel different, quiet walks that actually feel peaceful, conversations that feel real, creative flow that absorbs you, stillness that doesn't terrify you. Those moments start small, but they grow. And one day you notice something subtle. The craving still appears, but it no longer controls you. It asks, it doesn't command, and you choose. That's power, not domination over yourself, but awareness within yourself. If addiction controls your life right now, I want you to try one thing tonight. Not quitting forever, not dramatic vows, just this. When the urge comes, pause. Ask, what do I really need right now? And sit with the answer for 60 seconds, that's it. Small shifts repeated consistently become transformation. You don't have to do this alone. If you're struggling deeply, reach out to a friend, to a therapist, to a support group, to a community. There is strength in connection. If this video resonated with you, comment one word below that describes what you're really feeling right now. No explanation, just one word. You'll see you're not alone. And if you want to go deeper into Jung's ideas about shadow, individuation, and psychological transformation, subscribe. Because this is just the beginning. You made it to the end. That's not an accident. It means something inside you is ready. Keep showing up. Keep listening. Your soul is not your enemy. It's calling you towards something real, and that call is stronger than the addiction.